Welcome to Queertuhan. Queertuhan is a podcast organized by the Development Society of the Ateneo. Here at Queertuhan, we strive to amplify the voices of underrepresented minorities so that we can move beyond stereotypes and confront the lived reality of the LGBTQIA plus community in the Philippines.
Okay, and magandang araw mga ka-queertuhan. Hey, hey, hi, I'm Vaughn, your cool hot queer phenomenon from 3AB Communications. And if you hear out there, my dogs are feeling very excited as well. Hello, Marikina! Charot! Today, I am here with my fellow students who have graduated from a various backgrounds of Catholic high schools. Though high school is often celebrated as some of the best years in one's life, the reality is that many queer students often have to hide who they are, or else face discrimination, harassment, and violence. While high school is definitely a roller coaster for every student, the challenges members of the LGBTQ plus community have to grapple with all of these additional challenges because of their very identities. Despite of, or maybe even because of these challenges, high school is a time for discovering yourself and finding your community, which is what Queertuhan is all about. Today's Queertuhan is all about these high school experiences and what they mean for the queer youth today. And just a little leveling off, just a little ground rules. Feel free and be, if ever you're comfortable, open your cameras just so we get to vibe each other out. If you don't want, it's completely fine. And if ever you need to take like a breather, please do. You just have to tell us, or for example, you just don't feel comfortable talking about something, we'll gladly narrow and navigate the conversation somewhere else. So we just want everyone to know that if anything, we do understand what each other is going through, and hopefully this is as much of a safe space for you as it is for me. And before we start anything, as usual, our favorite thing in the first day of classes, icebreakers! Yay! I love getting to know people. That's completely sarcastic. Joke na. So before we start, I would just want to go around the table, and I'll be just delegating who talks when, just so we have a clear delineation of the flow. And I want you to say the name you're going by today, the pronouns you want to be referred to for this discussion, and potentially, just potentially, what high school you've come from. I'll start. Hi, I'm Vaughn. I am a he, she, identifies queer, and I came from, it's a, especially since we're senior high school kids, it's a pretty convoluted discussion. I came from Marist Junior High School and then Ateneo Senior High School. It's pretty okay, pretty okay. It's fine. We're going to start off this discussion with Heather. Hey.
Hi. My name is Heather. I go by the pronouns of they are them. And frankly, for high school, I came from Miriam College High School or MCHS. So, and now I'm currently just a college student in Ateneo, freshie. So, halos all my life, nasa bakod lang ako or nasa vicinity lang ako ng Katip. So, I'm a genuine Katip kid.
Okay, Heather, additional challenge. Choose who goes next. Maglalaglagan na tayo today. Huwag na tayo mahiya.
I'd like to choose Franz.
Hello, Heather. Thank you for choosing me. Hello, I'm Franz, and then I go by the pronouns she or they, and then Marikina, and then ngayon nasa Ateneo ako, and then also a freshman like Heather. And then should I call on? Okay, siguro I'll call on Enzo.
Hi, hello Philippines, hello world, hello Ateneo. But hi guys, my name is Enzo for today's session. My pronouns are they, them, and or he, him. Although I guess for this session, I would like it if you guys refer to me with they, them. I'm currently a third year student under Broadcast Media Arts and Studies at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. So siguro next door neighbor ninyo if we were in person, ganon. I actually came from Colegio San Agustin, Makati. For actually my entire life, I guess, before college. Not just SHS, I stayed there throughout the entirety of grade school and high school. So, yeah, that was a time. That was an experience. So yeah, hope this session goes great. Hope you guys feel safe then, ganon. I guess our last call out would be Hen. Hi.
Hi guys. My name is Hen. My pronouns are they them. I am non-binary. I'm a third year student at Ateneo de Manila University. I am currently studying AB Interdisciplinary Studies. Just like the others here, I'm also from Marikina, but I didn't go to for senior high, I didn't go to a Marikina school. I went to the school that's really far away from me, University of Santo Tomas in Sampaloc, Manila, the Dominican school, the home of the Tigers. So yeah, to know more about me, I am, yeah, I'm just a normal person. Joke lang. I'm just a chill person, and I'm just there. But there have been things na yun nga, I like to talk about UST and all that. So what are the experiences?
All right, that's great. Like, even among us five, I already feel like a minority as the only one that doesn't go by they, them. I'm sorry. Joke lang. But I hope that gets to warm us up even more, especially given the discussion right now. I think we might as well go to the Quintuhans because I'm having such a great time. In opening up this discussion, we already talked about what we identified as, what pronouns we go by. And I think it's nice to take a step back and just think, when did you finally notice, like, light bulb moment, that there was something a little bit not normal, quote unquote, with you, that you weren't like the other kids? I can potentially start. It was in grade 4 because the bullying was off the roof. I mean, it didn't start exclusively in grade 4, but like in grade 3, it just really culminated in grade 4, and it's just like, uy bakla, and I'm just like, perhaps. It feels appropriate. That was kind of like my awakening. It was through the bullying, not to justify it, but it was through the bullying that I get to really explain to myself and really embrace that, maybe it isn't so bad. Maybe I am what they're calling me, and I don't have to be ashamed of it. And that's my personal story. We can start this off with Hen. And mind you, if anybody wants to jump into the discussion, I highly, highly recommend. So, Franz, Heather, Enzo, you got this. But let's start it off with Hen.
Okay. So since some of you know that I'm from Marikina, I used to go to this school. It's a co-ed, so I didn't go to Marist. I didn't go to Saint School. I went to the co-ed school. If you know it, it's the starts with the letter I. You know it. Anyway, so in that school, kasi this is when I realized that I wasn't really cisgender when it was youth camp, and then there was a very religious youth camp, and then they made us separate into boys and girls to talk about sex. Like, yeah, it was so sex ed, kind of religious, kind of talking about what is marriage, what is sex after marriage, so yung mga ganon. And then they made us separate, and then I was so uncomfortable that my teacher had to pull me to the boys section, because you're a boy, you're a boy. Tapos parang ako parang no, no, no po. But yeah, that's kind of when I realized that, because I felt really uncomfortable talking about male sexuality to me, especially in such a religious setting, na parang I was pressured into thinking, like, this is not who I am. I don't think this is who I am. And then the principal actually had to talk to me about that. Na sabi niya, why did you do that? Tapos parang sabi ko, yun nga, I don't see myself as any of the genders. So that's how I kind of realized. But I didn't know that it was non-binary until when I entered college na, because we never really got taught into this sa school. So when I found out sa college na there is such thing as a non-binary identity, then I realized, oh, that's me. So yeah.
I'll just jump in and say parang if there was like a puppy eyes reacts emoji on Zoom, I just do it for Han's whole story. Kasi feeling ko, I mean, I don't want to say I explicitly resonated with it because of course our experiences are different, ganon. But I felt very sympathetic lang kasi parang to be so, I guess it's not super young, but to be quote unquote young and sobrang afraid of parang yourself, I guess, in that instance, because you're really not sure about your own identity. And myself, I also identify as genderqueer, so it's under that trans umbrella, and sobrang it's still, even now it's still really confusing for me to like navigate life as a whole, because I'm very mask presenting, so it's kind of a weird, I don't know, balancing beam, tightrope, I guess, of expression, but also your identity as a person. So I just want to send virtual hugs to Hen. I feel really bad because I feel like, for me, as someone who also grew up in a co-ed high school as well, syempre, it was pretty much an open secret that many people were dating with each other. And but of course, the people dating were all straight, cisgender couples, heterosexual, quote unquote, the norm, as most people would say. And even some teachers also encouraged it, and full classes that we were like classmates with them would also encourage it. So parang that was the culture at our high school. So gay dating was basically almost out of the question. And feeling ko that was that high school experience. But I guess going back to the original question, like my gay awakening, sobrang early on din siya, like I'd say grade three. I distinctly remember I had this group of friends. There was like three of us, and we were parang what brought us together was the Winx Club of all shows. I really loved the Winx Club, and I think I followed it until like season 6 or something, then fell off. But anyway, at the time, they had this merchandise line of like collectible cards, I think, and me as a grade 3 student, like starry-eyed, parang wishing for, I don't know, some sort of creative expression. I had this notebook that I kept with me, and I just collected Winx Club collectible cards that whole school year, I feel like, with my friends. And I feel like that was when I first thought na, this doesn't seem very boyish. This doesn't feel like normal behavior for a child of my stature and of my existence to be in. And then, very coincidentally, grade 4 then was when the bullying got weirdly bad. So in that sense, I kind of relate with Vaughn. Na parang grade 4 for some reason was a very visceral experience for me. I just very distinctly remember it being the worst year of my entire experience, like of existence so far, like of my 20 years on this earth. Grade 4 was the absolute worst for some reason, and I don't know why the bullying was so bad. Parang I guess that was the time when faggot was an explicit like insult already. It was coming into quote unquote the mainstream. So people were using it as an insult to hurl at anyone even remotely feminine if you were a guy, or if you were, assigned male at birth. So parang yeah, I received the brunt of that. And I think I also didn't help my case, because it was very much a case of internalized homophobia. So even I was like, I'm not a faggot. What are you talking about? The fuck? Ganon. Parang ganon. And it's super, I guess looking back, it's very cringy of me to do that. But then, I was grade 4. I was like 10. I didn't know any better. My classmates didn't know any better. So it was just a very, very preteen, prepubescent time for all of us. We were all probably just waiting to get into puberty. So it was very awkward, very much an awkward phase. But that was like part of my gay awakening. But I guess my true gay awakening was I'd say grade 11 or grade 12. I can't remember anymore, but it was just a few years ago. And in class, I'm so sorry, this is so lengthy, but in class, our creative writing professor asked us if anyone was like not straight, ganon. Like explicitly, it was just that question: is anyone here not straight? And parang, I guess the point was that he didn't want anyone to discriminate against anyone else, which I guess is noble, but in a sense, he was basically asking us to out ourselves. I guess in a sense. So parang me being the confused little queer person that I was at the time, I just raised my hand, like not knowing if I was gay, bi, or pan, or even gender queer yet. So I just raised my hand because I'm not. I just know for a fact that I'm not straight. So I raised my hand, and I was the only one in class who raised my hand. So parang even I knew that was a lie, because I knew some of my classmates were actually like openly queer. So Parang, I guess me wanting to be honest, did that and outed myself to my whole class. So I suppose that was my abrupt gay awakening. But I mean, my class was very receptive to it naman. I just, like, looking back, it was a very, very abrupt, and I did not mean to like out myself at that time in that manner. So yeah, a very rocky experience overall. So that was very interesting. Yun lang.
Honestly, if I may interject, I really do resonate a lot with what you already said. Just because you know how a lot of people like making it seem like being part of the LGBTQ plus is by some reason for because of like cause and effect. Like there is a stimulus that makes you shift. But then again, there are a lot of different factors that I guess you just cannot really lay the blame to. It's a community. It's really just liking certain people. I guess it's an internal thing that you just realize on your own, regardless of whatever factors are on the outside. So it's very, very, very complex. I really agree. How about you, friends?
Hello. So I guess in a way I think I had it off better. I never got bullied for my sexuality, thankfully. But grade 3, I think ang nangyari noon, the first openly like parang magalit tibo sa amin. As in siya talaga na natutunan ko na, oh, pwede pala yun, ganun. Pero it wasn't like, oh wow, baka pala ako or like, oh, nagkakagusto pala ako sa babae. It just ended up happening na, oh, may crush ako sa kanya. Okay, that's all. And then like I wrote about it in my diary and then my mom found it. And then, oh, she said, na face lang yan, ganun. Okay lang yan, nanggaling din ako ng all-girls school. Ayun. Pero as it turns out, like in the succeeding years, like from grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, hanggang sa mag-graduate ako, parang almost every year may nagugustuhan akong babae. And so, it was just really a process of like discovering for myself. And I'm just very thankful sa kaklase ko ngayon kasi dahil sa kanya na-realize ko na, oh, it's okay. You can like girls. So yeah.
Right. And honestly, I think Heather, on top of you possibly telling us how the shifting was in terms of how you realized it, was there any like LGBTQ plus people in school that helped influence your decision of affirming your identity, or it was really just, you know, I'm gay.
Okay. I'll just kind of give a background, like personally first. So background wise, ever since I was a kid, like as in a kid, like toddler, like I was 4 or 5, there was something quote unquote wrong with me. Why? Because I never played with the conventional toys that a girl would play with. I did not grow up playing dolls. I never touched a Barbie doll ever. Fun fact. So yeah, I never touched a Barbie doll. I don't like in general. I don't like dolls, makeup, all those kikai stuff that girls conventionally would play with as they grow up. My mom was concerned because um when I were to pick toys in the toy store, I would go for the quote unquote boy section. So I would go for cars, airplanes, guns, stuff like that. I don't know. I would the other conventional toys. I did not have that childhood. So then from there, parang it gave me a sense already, even as young as like 4 years old, that I was saying that parang I think there's something wrong. Like there's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but I just like playing with cars more than dolls. The conventional stereotypical things that yun nga, the stereotypical labels that people put within what's meant for boys and what's also meant for girls per se. And I knew ever since that yun nga, growing up, I would prefer to wear jumpers or overalls or like I don't know, shirts, polos with jeans and all that. Cuff my jeans and all cuffing jeans, that's the sign. Yeah. And yeah, that's just basically how I like ever since I was really young, I really had this like nudge within me. I really didn't know how to explain it as I was young because I didn't know any better. But then yeah, I had that nudge ever since I was like 4 that like I am not conventionally the typical girl, normal girl per se. And then I had already that quote unquote epiphany that you could be something more than what you are, for your birth-based sexuality. When I was in seventh grade, because I had a best friend, and my best friend was open, and they were openly gay, they were lesbian. So then I then learned from them like the basics of Soji. I learned basically the basics of Soji 101 from them. And then when she kept making cuento and she kept talking about these things that surround the LGBT community, I was like, I think this is what I've been trying to clarify ever since I was four. That yes, okay, I don't like wearing dresses. Yes, I play with cars. Yes, I played with um toys that would make others say that that's for boys. Why are you playing that? Why don't you get a Barbie doll? Stuff like that. And then I realized from there that yeah, I did like girls. And like when I was in seventh grade, that was the first time I also had a crush on a batchmate. And then yeah, that's when I already affirmed it. Na parang okay, maybe I am. At some point, yeah, I'm not straight, and then that's when I considered myself to be bisexual per se. So yeah, that's basically the story of it. It's kind of like yeah, parang ever since I was born, parang nasa mali akong spectrum. Pero yun.
Okay, honestly, I will never stop saying this. Thank you so much for sharing. I think really in seeing what we want in society starts with people like us who are willing to talk about these things, even in seemingly normal or minute ways. And if there's anything that I think we all commonly touched up on is the idea of us being part of a minority, which oftentimes people find it dismissive. Like when you say minority, you say them as if they're being oppressed, which is true, but people don't get the complexity of how many different factors affect it. There's a historical sense towards it, there's a cultural sense towards it, there's a social sense towards it, there's a family as an institution, there's school as an institution trying to just mash these things into our brains of what's right and what's wrong. And then again, in the center of all of that, you have Catholic schools. So just if there's any transition that I can make towards this discussion in particular, is there any particular way that you felt personally oppressed, discriminated, put aside by any Catholic school structure, personality, etc.?
Okay. So in the case of UST, I'm- I might get sued for this. No, I'm kidding. But there was one time that they actually, because I remember I was part of the orgs that were to celebrate Pride Month. A lot of our orgs in UST changed to rainbow flag logos, but then UST went, no, you can't do that. There's someone's gonna have to pay for that. Mga ganun. There was threats of like what you're doing is wrong. It's against the Catholic image. Ganun. And you're ruining UST. So that was one of the first times I realized. That was one of the first things I realized in UST that there is that sort of oppression, which honestly I've never really felt a face-to-face kind of like a hate crime in UST, because the students are way different from the admin and from the profs. Like they're very progressive, they're very nice. It was really those. It was more of against the powers involved that really where in UST that would really you would feel the oppression. But when it comes to the community, at least there's a loving community behind.
I would actually agree with Hen because hindi naman din yung problema with regards to the LGBT agenda. Hindi yun problema sa community within MCHS or MC in general because actually minsan yung slogan nga namin minsan or like when someone asks like oh how's the community in MC, if there's one word to summarize and to like describe MC in one word, like the community wise, gay. we're we're all ano, we're all no joke.
Period.
Like if you really ask,
Same.
like if you really ask MC people to describe the community in one word, gay, rainbows, LGBT, everything, every person. Like 80% to 90%, one way or another, has had already a crush on another batchmate or like in another batch. It's only 10% that's like graduates that are straight. So I'm like, for that 10% that's still graduates and only yeah are still straight, they're brave souls. because I don't know how to do that. I really don't know how to do that. And like minsan yeah, when I have friends that like really graduate from LC and they're still straight like after all the years that they've been in LC, I'm like, how do you do that? How did you not? How? Like internalize it. Everyone left and right. Everyone. But yeah, community wise, there's not much of a problem. And yeah, same as like the community in USP, like what Hen mentioned. MCHS people are really open and like we're really progressive as well. It's just that some teachers and sometimes the administration, the rules that they implement or what they say could be, it's suppressing or like they try to still oppress us one way or another. They try to be, low key reminding us that hey, in the real world, it's not like that or something like that. Like you can't be like that. But yeah, this is funny because I'll emphasize on one CL teacher. Yes, it's the CL teachers. It's the CLE teachers.
That's true. Oh
Christian
my
living
gosh.
teachers. But yeah,
Lagi. Lagit
That's
lagi.
so true.
I had this when back in grade 10, I had the CLE teacher. She was very, very, very traditional. Very the most traditional of the traditional within the whole faculty of the CL in high school. I was like, why out of all people did I have to get this teacher? I don't know why, pero yun. Um, what do you call this? And yung general overview kasi nung grade 10 CL curriculum for MC was morality. Morality ng mismong sarili mo, morality within the community, morals, values, Christian values per se. And we had to tackle a lot of agendas or issues that, for traditional people, they would give you the traditional answer. And since I had that kind of teacher, that's what I got for a whole year. I will never forget when my teacher was talking about LGBT because it's part of the lessons. And then I remember she said to us that people of the same sex, so like people from my school, should only hug each other for not more than 3 seconds. Sobrang, nung narinig ko yun, na-embed siya talaga sa utak ko. Kaya hanggang na yun, never ko makakalimutan yung class na yun. Naka-embed siya sa utak ko. Never ko yun mai-erase. Kaya nung sinabi niya yun, sabi ko, nandun ako sa desk ko. I was just sitting there. I was just like, girl, I want to walk out of here and not come back at all. I'll never come back to your class, charot. Pero yun, um, it felt so, why? Like, all in my head, everything, at that moment when I heard it, I was really just saying that parang, huh? Why do you even, like, 3 seconds? Not more than 3 seconds. Are you okay? Tapos lahat kami magkakapareho ng sex dito. Okay ka lang? So yun. And then, she would give these, like, minsan when I see her in the corridor and like when she sees people hugging or like people holding hands because yeah, so that's what we do. We don't care. Honestly, and FT we really don't care. We don't mind. And then when she gives that glare, that typical glare that they're like observing you like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? I just said that no, like you can't do that for more than 3 seconds. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't mind. I don't care. Pero yun, sobrang that was one of the moments that I really realized that kahit you have a loving community and you really have an open community, there are still adults or like higher ups that would, tend to still give or shove down to you the traditional answer because that's what they grew up with and it's all right. I would understand it already eventually. And people eventually like generations like more recent generations already understand that yun nga, these ideologies have been grown up with these people and maybe sometimes luckily there are people that are willing to um understand and be more open-minded and then finally say that parang, oh, it's not like this anymore at this time, it's different and we should accept that. But there are also people that are just really like, no, I can't accept it, I still don't feel comfortable with it, I'm just gonna tell you what I say and what I feel, so you can't hug for more than 3 seconds, stuff like that. And ano pa, there's another one I recall. It's regard with our dress code in in MC because sometimes they make it super explicit that we cannot cross dress. They make it explicit, bold letters in the reminders. no cross dressing, and it ticks us off. It ticks us off because yun nga, what if you really want to, and what if you're just really not comfortable wearing the proper attire that we're assigned to, stuff like that. And then there was this, okay, so yeah, we had like the MCHS promenade. Yeah, high school prom. Siyempre, lahat kami babae. So, the faculty and the administration expected all of us to wear dresses. Ako, honestly, as someone who like I said kanina, isn't comfortable wearing dresses, I had no choice. I had to abide. So, I was wearing a dress that night. But there was one student, one batchmate of mine, who wasn't wearing a dress. They were wearing a suit. They cross-dressed. Even if the reminder was in bold in the letter, no cross-dressing. And if you did cross-dress, the rule was you cannot enter the event. You cannot. You cannot enter the event, and at the same time, you will get an infraction or like a violation for cross-dressing. So I saw my batchmate. I saw my batchmate that did not follow that conventional rule. And to be honest, at some part of me, I was like, I wish I kind of did that as well. But then again, yun nga, the protocol was hindi siya nakapasok, and she also got a violation for it. But then at the end of the day, parang iniisip mo din na out of how many students, we were like 500 in the batch. There was one student that really said na parang, no, I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. No, thank you. And I will still attend this prom, whether you like it or not, wearing a suit. And that's me proving a point that you, as an administration, still abide and still go traditional with these such rules and like prohibitions and all that. Even it's kind of ironic because MC, I'm so sorry if I will be sued, graduate na ako. Ano, MC promotes women empowerment. That's the irony of my school. MC promotes women empowerment. Wow, gender empowerment. Women being in the front lines, women being in the sectors that are usually in the workplace or like in the community and all that. In short, women empowerment. And yet, it's so funny that they would still implement these rules, or like they would still give you that grudge that like, oh, we can't make you empowered with regards to LGBT issues. So sorry. We're going for that traditional women empowerment. So parang make it make sense. It's 21st century. And I guess yeah, that's what I could do. Like what I could say.
I remember back in grade 8, and then we had this CLE teacher. Now we loved a lot, as in super motherly niya, super caring, and she was always so cute talaga. But then it came to a point na may discussion kami, and I think it was about marriage. And then what happened was ang napag-usap-usapan na ano, same-sex relationships, same-sex unions. And then parang ang nasabi niyang response na nirerespeto daw niya yung mga bakla, yung mga parte ng LGBTQIA plus community, pero hindi talaga. Like, hindi talaga pwedeng ikasal. And okay, sige, we understood from her perspective. But then, I cannot exactly say the other words that she said noon kasi nga, I really suppressed that memory na. But then, like, I just remember na a lot of us in the class ended up crying talaga and like breaking down kasi like I knew a lot of people from my class na talaga they were openly gay to our student community, ganun, like very expressive, and yung iba nga sa amin magjowa pa. So imagine all of that. This person that you looked up to in a way kasi ano siya, motherly na nga, teacher mo pa. 'Di ba yung sasabihin pa nga na parang pangalawang magulang mo nasa school, gano'n? Tama ba na yung pangalawang magulang mo, sinasabihan ka ng mga masasamang salita na nakakasakit? Magulang pa ba yun? And then, apart from that, in terms of education then, 'di ba sex education, in science ko, I don't really got that. Like, nagkaroon lang, siguro, like in science classes, pero pag-uusapan lang yung reproductive system, and then after that, yun lang. You know na pwede kang mabuntis kapag ano, may nakapasok na sperm sa'yo, gano'n. But then, apart from that, what we had would be, sorry. Ano yun, seminars, and then, kaso, okay, sex education daw yun, pero the perspective would be from religion. And then we would be encouraged na lang not to have sex or not to even explore it kasi it would be like unholy or um you know, just be a good Catholic schoolgirl, ganon. Don't have sex. Pero parang yun, there's the irony of it na, oh, all girls school, we have to empower women. But then, why don't you provide us credible and actual information para matutunan namin kung paano ba talaga namin naalagaan yung mga katawan namin, kung paano namin to protektahan, paano namin to i-empower, ganun, na hindi lang siya nalilimitahan sa mata ng relihiyon, di ba? So, ayun. Well, I didn't really get any of that in high school, unfortunately. Basta in same ko in general. And then another would be with expression naman, like yung iba sa amin kasi talaga gusto nila mag ano, quote unquote boycott. Basta maikli, ganun. And they're comfortable with that. So, okay lang. Or yung iba naman gusto mag ano, kung hindi man tawag ang boycott, pixie cut kasi mainit, ganun. Pero anong nangyayari, napapatawag pa rin sila sa office at nabibigyan sila ng mga tawag doon, verbal warning ba yun? Verbal warning pero nakasulat sa papel, gano'n. Or basta ano sila, mapapagalitan, gano'n. And it came to a point na hindi ko 'to first hand na experience. Pero like kumakalat sa batch na, oh, may mga times na may napu-pull out talaga sa amin. Like they're just walking by the corridor and then there would be, um, I don't know if it was their principal, basta yung principal kasi namin dati madre. I think Kuya Von and Kuya Daryl know the name, but I will not say it kasi scary siya. Um, yun, like they would, the the principal, nangyayari, parang sinasabihan pa sila ng mga ibang salita na hindi na tama talaga. As in, sobrang degrading na. Na okay, pwede pa sana maintindihan. Sige, school rule na kailangan talagang mahaba buhok mo. Pero kailangan mo ba sabihan talaga ng masasamang bagay yung mga estudyante na sinasabi niyong inaalagaan niyo? Tapos, and then lastly would be like relationships. So, we have this thing kasi na called watch list. And then, ang nangyayari kasi niyan, kapag masyado kayong TDA na magjowa or kunyari, kahit magkaibigan lang kayo, pero kapag napaghalataan na masyado kayong clingy or ano, minsan na maririnig mo sa mga kaibigan mo, sa mga kasama mo, ano, "Uy, mag-ingat kayo baka mamaya ma-watchlist kayo." Ayun, tapos isipin mo yun na parang na-ingrain na talaga sa amin na, oh, kailangan natin mag-ingat. That's how much we cared for each other, but then alam mo yun, na-internalize pa rin namin yung mga rules na nagre-restrict sa amin for our self-expression or gender expression. Kasi nga, ayaw na namin na masaktan yung isa't isa. Pero beyond that, parang ang nangyayari, parang hinahayaan na lang din namin kasi para matapos na lang, para wala nang ibang mangyari kasi sobrang komplikado talaga ng lahat and just really a bad time. But then, if anything though, siguro banggitin ko na lang din ulit yung school ko. If anything, sobrang different talaga na from junior high into senior high school. Na I'm very thankful na I had senior high school. Kasi yung mga teachers namin noon, they were a lot younger. And like some of them were really open with their sexuality and with their gender expression. And I'm just very thankful na the last three batches of senior high school got to experience that um from the admin of the senior high school department kasi hindi yun yung nakuha namin from grade school to junior high. And I know na a lot of them came out better talaga having gone through like the caring supervision of senior high school. So yeah, I can't say for everyone, pero I'm just really thankful.
Okay. For me, honestly, I wish starting off now, wish ko talaga ng Zoom na mas may negative reactions kasi sobrang visceral ng anger ko towards everything you guys were saying. Na parang although it didn't happen to me personally, I just felt like all the pain, all the struggles that like my queer siblings are going through, and sobrang nakakagalit talaga for me to like hear it like spoken back to me, kasi for me I feel like CSA was super in a bubble of its own, kind of, kasi feeling of very uh separated kami from the rest of the quote unquote SHS circuit. Yung mga mainstream schools dyan, kasi parang when I entered UPD, it was all, parang most of my batchmates were from ayun, Miriam, Ateneo SHS, LaSalle, LSGH. So parang I felt so out of the loop when I entered UP. So parang all I could do was listen to them. But anyway, in terms of experiencing that kind of oppression or repression in high school, Shems, I don't want to say my experience was like all good, but I'd say na it was, I guess, far better than all of your experiences combined. Like, I don't want to, syempre, I really don't want to sound like I'm bragging or anything, because if anything, I really don't like associating myself with my high school. If anyone asks what my high school is, I try to avoid the question. Pero, yun, it was like relatively better, I'd say. But it's like, parang light enforcement of all the rules, of most of the rules that you guys have mentioned. Parang, I guess one of the good things was that when senior high came, they took off the CL class. So wala nang, well, they didn't really take it off, but it was much more liberal, quote unquote, na parang it's less focused on religion and more on Christian teachings talaga, if that kind of makes sense. So I was kind of grateful for that. And then most of the teachers then were pretty receptive. So a lot, whoever was out openly, and whoever was closeted was free to like express themselves in subtle ways without the fear of getting reprimanded. Pero, you know, Catholic schools, let's talk about the policing that Catholic schools do on its students. Let's talk about it. Let's unpack because I just feel like sobrang, you know, this world, okay, sobrang weird tangent, but like this world is dying, guys. And trees, they're running out. And all I want to say is handbooks, student handbooks, what a waste of paper. What a waste of trees. Kasi sobrang, I, okay, whew, I want to go off so badly because I don't see the point. I don't see the point of policing your students' behavior when you want to encourage them to be better people, to be better students, to be better academic, I don't know, academic people as a whole. As in, yeah, because like what Fran said, so that so chat, like we also lose them. Like, what's the use of a handbook when, like, okay, I just wanna. Oh wait, I will take a minute to fix my thoughts because they're all over the place, and I'm kind of just super angry right now. But I just want to say na I feel like handbooks are so useless in the sense na why should you curtail the potential of your students to become better people and to be greater, and why would you want to purposely set rules for your students to follow if it's not making them happier? Like, if you want to be a good Catholic school, imbibing Catholic values, don't you want your students to be like happy? And parang it's so sobrang ironic to me, like years after, or like even like the preceding my freshman year as a student in UP, parang sobrang clear to me how Catholic schools are the most hypocritical administrations that I've ever seen ever. Like, it doesn't matter if what Catholic school you're from, they are the most hypocritical people because parang if they want us to like follow Jesus teachings, be super religious, and like feel like we are being good people, like good human beings. And me, I'm still kind of religious now. I'm just like medyo non-practicing Roman Catholic, I guess. But for me personally, I still believe in God, and I believe that my God would not let people trample on my rights as a human being. If they were truly like preaching that they were disciples of God and disciples of Jesus, wouldn't they want to uh, set a good example? So why would you want to be oppressive? Why would you want to be the kind of people Jesus, when he was alive, was directly against? Why would you want to be these kinds of people? Like, sobrang gusto ko talang i-point out na Jesus was for the poor, Jesus protected the marginalized, and parang why aren't you doing what he was doing? So like I just wanna throw back, I guess, to parang on Heather's whole rant on dress code. It was so apparent to me, and sobrang yeah, exactly like what Hen said. Didn't Jesus have long hair? So parang it's so clear to me how something as simple as a dress code could be used to oppress its students. Like it's not even limited to us as LGBTQ people anymore. It's even like to just regular students trying to express themselves. Parang what if a sobrang like as what if a cisgender heterosexual male student wanted to just grow out his hair or paint his nails because wala gusto niya lang. Parang it's so clear to me how a dress code is just meant to I don't know, satisfy whatever aesthetic the administration was going for its school. And parang, yeah, it's just all so like frustrating to hear back kasi even if my experience was better than others, I acknowledge na it's still it's still not right for a handbook to be as so rigid as that. Parang what's the point of all these bylaws and infractions on student discipline? Like, so what if I'm uh different from your idea of a boy? So what? At least I have good grades. I graduated with slight honors. Don't you want that? Isn't that what you want to be so proud of when it comes to PASCO accreditation? Like, what does it matter that I am expressing myself differently, diba? So parang, wala. I mean, it's just also so frustrating to hear all of these weird memories back. Not Pasco. Listen, I'm just saying, sobrang frequent. Well, it wasn't frequent, but as in pagpa-ASCO accreditation season na guys, y'all know just how fake and just how well planned every class was when it was PASCO accreditation season. Y'all know that everyone had a script to follow. Y'all know that it was even rehearsed days in advance. I'm just saying, sobrang weird niya talaga for me, but that's like a whole other tangent that I don't want to get into. But yun, I guess that's all.
Okay, okay. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are feeling just heightened by everything that we've discussed. And I honestly wish I could make things feel better for you, but I think we just need to dig a little deeper at this point. Take a breather, drink some water. Is there any time when a lot of these influences allowed you to be fearful of yourself, hateful of yourself, internalizing transphobia, homophobia, blank phobia? That's a topic that's very prevalent. And honestly, as a queer individual that just jumps back to being masculine and feminine, it's never an easy day. I could just catch myself hating why I'm too feminine, as a patriarchal side of me is showing. And then there are other days that I hate being a man because I mean, so like that's all. Like it's there really isn't an easy day for people like us. So um, I'll allow you guys to start, whoever wants to start, and then just
Mm.
bounce off of each other, and we'll move on as we go.
Okay.
Hen.
Okay, hello. For me, it has more to do with faith because I am a faithful person. I am kind of a weird case because I come from a Christian background and then I converted to Islam. So yeah, I'm a person who has found that religion in me. But then there's because you have to remember that Islam this is not a monolith. We don't have the same hope. We don't have that. Okay, so it's literally like different interpretations and different but we still believe that we're all Muslims. And there are times that I did feel like I was choosing one thing over the other, over my sexuality, over my gender identity, or my religion. Because you know, right now within Islamic tradition, it's really frowned upon to be LGBT. But that has more to do with culture. There are so many scholars nowadays within Islam who have progressive ideas of LGBT, and that's usually it's becoming popular now recently. But um, that did come from that. there is still that kind of tradition that still exists, and that's why for me, when I go to the mosque, for example, I'm still kind of uh, not trying to show it because it's I know. Then it became to a moment where I started questioning myself, like, is what is am I a sin? Am I something that I'm not? And it's one of those questions that have lingered for so long, even when I was a Christian, because I'm a very godly person. I do believe in God. I do worship God. I do love God. But I have a feeling that there are sometimes that, did God make me non-binary? Did God make me gay? Because is this a trial? Am I not supposed to do it? Am I not supposed to love anyone who to love? Diba? So parang there are times na I did feel that sort of um clash with my faith, na I don't know if my existence is a sin, and it really did hurt, honestly. But then, praying more and looking at, I realized that it really has to do with the social conditions that surround religion in general. Like, for example, what Enzo said about these hypocritical Catholic schools. Like, they're not Catholic, they're not Christian intrinsically. Yung mga handbooks na sinasabi na, you can't have your hair like this. They're not Christian in a sense, but these people, these humans, these nuns, these priests, they've added more to the religion that they invented. 'Di ba? So that's also kind of what I'm seeing right now, and I think that's one way that I could help realizing that my faith and my sexuality, my gender identity is not separate. In fact, right now, recently, I've been meeting with fellow Athenians who are also queer Muslims, who we've been talking about, the history of Islam. Like, it's not necessarily, apparently, our prophet, peace be upon him, was actually very trans accepting because he saved one trans person according to a hadith. So, there are those discussions that are gladly being talked about within the religion, but there's still a long way to go to remove centuries, thousands of years of patriarchy. So, yeah.
Sobrang nag-resonate sa akin yung discussion on faith and sexuality because I feel like I don't want to generalize syempre, but I feel like most queer people who come from a Catholic school background will always have that kind of talk with themselves na parang, am I going to hell? Am I a sinner? Am I committing like this mortal sin? Ganon. But I feel like we all have that conversation with ourselves at some point, and it's just so damaging. Um it's so damaging to our psyches, to our mentalities as people. Kasi parang all our lives we've been taught to be religious, to be a good Christian, Catholic slash Muslim slash any religion insert here. So parang we've always been taught to abide by those kinds of rules and kinds of practices which were not always the most queer accepting. So parang the moment we realize that we are queer people, it becomes a sort of existential crisis. And parang I feel like that's a reason why I feel like I matured so much faster than most of my peers. Not because like, oh, I'm a better person. No, but because I had to really question myself, like who I am as a person at such a young age. Na parang I shouldn't be having this conversation with myself at the age of like what 15, 16. Like why am I thinking about this right now? Like why am I questioning myself as a person? And parang I guess I'm just so grateful for people or celebrities or anyone really in the mainstream media who are just so openly faithful but also openly queer at the same time. I'm so grateful for I guess someone like let's say Little Nas X who openly takes that narrative of gay people going to hell and reclaims it for their own. And parang I'm so grateful that kids nowadays will get to grow up with that kind of these kinds of role models.
Oh, hello, wait. Yung question, di ba? Like, if ever na internalize namin yung, okay. Um, siguro, ayun, it would have to be related to like ako kasi nung junior high, like masunurin akong bata. So like yun nga, may mga certain policies nga na hindi like oppressive talaga. Yun nga with expression and gano'n. Tapos yun nga, I admit, ako yung isa sa mga students na nagsasabi, "Oh, mag-ingat kayo baka ma-watchlist kayo." Gano'n. So parang andun pa lang, oh no, like, um, ngayon iniisip ko na, o baka mamaya school pala, yun lang yung safe space nila. Kasi siyempre kapag nasa labas, hindi naman puwede mag-holding hands kasi baka mamaya, "Oh, andiyan si mama sa McDo, ano nandun kayo sa kabilang table sa McDo." Siyempre hindi na nila mahawakan yung isa't isa, hindi na nila kahit matignan yung isa't isa kasi siyempre, you know, gano'n. Ta's I guess at times, this is how my Catholic school failed me kasi in a way, parang na-ingrain sa akin subtly to be homophobic in the most minute ways talaga na I don't know if naging masama siya ever yung effect dun sa mga naging kaklase ko, ng mga naging kasama ko. But then looking back at it now, like why? Like why did I have to follow blindly for these rules para lang hindi kami magka-violation, para lang hindi kami mapagalitan. Pero like, why not stand up against those things? But then, yun nga, pare-pareho lang din naman kaming takot. So I don't really know. But then, yun. And then, um, I guess I really related then to what Hen said and what Enzo said na like parang at such a young age, you're already questioning your faith. And then I remember bringing it up to one of like my mentors back in grade school na hindi ko po talaga sure kung naniniwala po ako sa Diyos, gano'n. Pero I couldn't tell them exactly why. But then I knew it was because of um my sexuality na oo nga, bakit ba ako magsusubscribe sa isang religion na alam kong hindi so welcoming of people like me, of people like us. But then over the years, I realized nga na like what I'm sorry, medyo juggle ko yung voices in my head. But then with like what Ken and Enzo said nga na parang hindi naman one thing of the other tayo. Like babae din ako. But at the same time, nagkakagusto ko sa babae. But at the same time, Catholic din ako. So, hindi puwedeng iisang bagay lang yung pagtutuunan natin ng pansin. Kasi lahat talaga nag-i-intersect sa mga tao. So, isipin mo yun parang na ano ako, um, it's just so hard na you're already repressed as a woman and then you're also repressed by your religion na, oh, you can't love other women too. But then this is something that we really should discuss about, like, and really, um, rethink. Kasi grabe na yung pag-weaponize sa religion para lang mang-oppress ng ibang tao. Na tipong, okay, we're following these scriptures and these texts and all these biblical things, but then, are we really sure na sinulat sila ng tama? Lalong-lalo na, 'di ba, may mga English translations, Filipino translations, and there's so many things that could get lost along the way. And then yun yung pinapasa sa sobrang daming henerasyon na nai-ingrain na siya sa mga tao na hindi natin alam kung ito ba talaga yun. Ito ba talaga yung sinasabing um, tinuturo ng Diyos sa atin or kung whatever faith we're subscribing to. So parang imagine mo yun. And then there are Catholic schools na talagang centered on Catholicism ang education nila. So just think about that na as young as we were forced to question yeah, we were forced to question ourselves talaga. And it's, gosh, so hard. And then I have this one more na. Um so I have an adult in the family that I look up to talaga. And they're openly gay. And then I remember approaching them kasi syempre like siya lang din yung malalapitan ko about it kasi nga kami lang magkakalik. they've always known na yun nga, nagkakagusto ko sa babae. And like, halos lahat ata ng mga naging crush ko, naging alam niya din kasi yun nga. And then, what happened was, I think this was around grade 9. And then I was talking to my cousins. Like, my cousins also knew, pero hindi ko sila masyadong pinag-uusapan about it kasi, it's kind of awkward, you know? But then, I remember talking to one of my cousins then. And then, my cousin, and then, sinuggest na, oh, bakit hindi natin kausapin si adult ganito? Ganon. Para, so we could find out like how to go about it. And my issue back then was kung magka-come out ba ako sa mom ko or sa dad ko, gano'n. And then, I was expecting sana na magiging supportive siya. But then I also understood kung saan siya nanggagaling nun. And I remember kung ano sinabi niya nun na um, kung kaya ko pa raw daw bumalik, pilitin ko daw. Kasi sobrang hirap daw talaga. Hindi niya pinili na maging gano'n. Hindi niya pinili yung gano'ng buhay, hindi madali. So parang dun pa lang, parang, oh my God. Like, isipin mo yung tanda na niya, like, he's already, oh, sabi ka na, ayan, he's already around 40 years old. Um, he doesn't live in the Philippines. Um, Nandun siya, sa ibang bansa. Dun siya malaya, hindi siya nandito. So, isipin mo yun, na parang, gosh, it's so hard talaga. And not hearing a supportive answer, but then I also understood where he was coming from. And just seeing that from someone na I looked up to so much and who I've always been comfortable with showcasing my sexuality just sucks. Kasi the people you love aren't also free. And then you can only do so much for them. But then, ayan, yeah.
You have this growing number of people that are opening up within these communities that like, hey, maybe one way or another we can change that evolve like that evolving progress na parang okay we do still have these traditional sectors but again it's time that we also present these things or like present these ideologies or like present these people that may not be your conventional typical what you would label as normal within the community but they want to feel as if you can treat them as well as normal because there's nothing wrong with them in the first place. And there's nothing wrong with being a part of the LGBT. There's nothing wrong as well with having to say that, oh, I'm part of the LGBT community, but I also really firmly believe in my God, which is fine because there's nothing wrong with it. It's not meant to be called or deemed as a sin. You can do it. Bakit buhay mo ba? In short, buhay mo ba? Ganun eh. So, yun. And I think uh with regards to my experiences, like personally, it's hard as well because I grew up in MC like my entire life, but the community, it always was my safe space in that all girls school. Like fine, we're all girls, and then yun nga, if I were to describe like how I said, Kenyan, if I were to describe the school, we're just all gay. So that that scenario, that environment that I've been in for more than a decade, it became my safe space because I grew and I matured so much along with a lot of people that also grew up and realized that, oh, we're not the typical normal. We're not the typical nitty gritty na parang, oh, we should be ladylike and all that, wearing our uniforms, always having prim and proper attitude and courtesy towards everyone. And yun, I grew up in that environment and I realized that it shouldn't be a bother, even if there are like people like the administration or like higher ups that would tell you, na, hey, you should tone it down a little bit. You should like sit properly, pa rin, or like try to be more ladylike when you walk, stuff like that. Because I still hear those from other teachers, and then you just see these groups of students who really don't follow and they don't give a damn. They don't care. Parang okay, so sinabihan ako pero it's not what I do, and I don't feel comfortable with that. So I don't really need to follow you. And that's how I grew up. Then and that's how I realized that parang, oh, you have, in short, you have your own willpower. May choice ka pa rin eh. May choice ka pa rin whether to abide or not with the rules. And most people, yun nga, like what Franz said a while ago, most people are also still scared, especially people who came from, yun nga, schools like Catholic institutions. Because it's embedded with us, these ideologies. It's embedded, it's it's engraved. They're trying to engrave it per se, and then yun nga, they tell you that parang, oh, you can't hug each other for more than 3 seconds. Like, what? Okay. Na they still try to try to mingle and control what you think is right from wrong. When in reality, ikaw lang yung in short, ikaw lang yung mapagpasya. Ikaw lang yung mapagpasya. You can be the only person who can say what is right from wrong within your own morals and values. Because we all have different morals and values. If you believe that you're an LGBTQ plus person that doesn't believe in religion or isn't comfortable with any religion, it's okay. If you believe in still being believing in your religion, and at the same time you're very godly and you also really want to practice your faith while being part of that community that has one way or another is oppressed by that religion, there's nothing wrong with it as well, because again, ikaw pa rin yung mapagpasya, and it's only you at the end of the day that can say that, oh, what I'm doing is right, and it's because I feel good about it. I feel good about it. It's who I am. It's who I've always been growing up. It's what I've always thought about. It's what I've always think that parang, oh, there's something wrong with me. No, there's nothing. That's no, it's not something wrong with me. It's just really me. And whether people accept it or not, so be it. And yeah, that's how I basically grew up as well with regards to these issues. Na parang, it took me also a while kasi to realize and to accept that I was non-binary, because yeah, I did have a community where everyone was just halos they identified in one of the abbreviations or acronyms, but like uh not a lot of people came out as non-binary. So I wasn't really aware that there was something like that. Because eventually at the end of my high school years, I thought to myself na parang I really don't like being called she, but I also don't like being called he. So where do I go? So within that spectrum, I was like, where do I go? Where do I go? And then a friend introduced me to the term. They told me, maybe you're non-binary, or you could see yourself as non-binary. So I looked it up, and then I asked people who identified as NB. And then I realized that, oh, this other minority exists. And I feel comfortable with that minority. I feel comfortable with the definition. I feel comfortable with what it has, the aspects and all that. So just identify it as it is. So yun. And then it was kind of hard because a lot of people, again, there's this conventionality pa rin eh when you're speaking, because we grew up na parang, oh, if it's a girl, she, if it's a boy, he. We don't use they or them for singular nouns or pronouns. That's the hard part, and that's where I kind of got um nervous or like anxious about, because when I started telling people that yeah, I identify as non-binary, and then I tell them that my pronouns are specifically they or them, uh it was hard because people would feel like in a normal conversation they'll say like, oh, Heather, she ganyan ganyan, or like she said that and they said she said that and all that. Parang at first you'd be like, oh, it's fine, because yun nga, we grew up with that scenario. We grew up with those conventional terms. It's just a way, or it's just a way of reminding people, and at the same time either reminding, or if those people are willing to adjust, because again, you have people who are not willing to adjust, and that's just how the world goes, I guess. But you also have a lot of people who are willing to adjust and be open-minded enough to realize that there are these minorities, they exist, they're not a phase, and they're real, and they are willing as well to adjust and to respect those people, who these people in these communities are minorities. And that's how it's supposed to be. And I guess that's how it is. Na parang, I guess there's a balance talaga that there are people that until now they'll tell you that, hey, bawal same-sex marriage and all that, or hey, I really don't agree with you with this. It's a sin and all that. Fine. I've accepted long, long ago that there will be people like that. But I will forever be aware that there are people who don't say that and they don't believe in that because they are willing to be open-minded and they are willing to respect what is happening around them, whether they like it or not. So yeah.
So to everybody who's made it until this part, I'd like you to revel in every one of these people's small victories. And we can start off perhaps with Enzo. Is there any small victory as to being part of an LGBTQ plus, a growth, a realization that made you feel more comfortable in your skin?
I think, hmm, I guess, kasi I guess when we first realized that we're queer or that we're a member of this community, I guess I don't want to generalize people's experiences, but I feel like one of the earlier thoughts that pops into our head is, hala, oh my gosh, how is my love life gonna be like? Parang, oh no, something's gonna happen to me or something, like I won't ever get a partner or partners, ganon. But then after a while, you realize na actually being part of this community kind of expands my options. Parang like as someone assigned male at birth expresses themselves as like masculine most of the time. I guess most people would assume upon first meeting me I'd have or want a girlfriend, but then for the most part, while I do get attracted to women, of course, but I am mostly attracted toward men and also fellow queer people. So parang after realizing that, I realized, huh, I guess I can celebrate the fact that I my ocean is bigger than other people's oceans. You know how they always say there's just another fish in the sea? Well, my sea is seven seas probably. So I just want to say na I think being queer allows for me to love more, I think. And parang it's just a freeing experience to realize that my love won't be super I guess I don't want to invalidate gay people, lesbian people, or even straight people, but it's just it feels so freeing, I guess, in a sense na I'm really free to truly love whoever I want to. And I mean, yeah, people will judge here and there, but again, it's just a very freeing feeling that you get to love people regardless of who they are. But I truly don't care how you identify. As long as we vibe and I like you, you like me, then heck, you want to move in together? Gonna That's my post-pandemic self pala, by the way, Charlotte. But yeah, it's like a very freeing feeling. And I think that's something we can celebrate as queer people.
I also we're also kind of in the same uh we're kind of the same because I'm also biromantic. I kind of just realized that because I may crush ako. Shut up. Anyway, so parang for me, my small victory would be that it doesn't really matter who you like, what do you identify as long as you're a good person and you help one another, you love one another. I'm okay. We can vibe with that. It doesn't necessarily have to be we don't necessarily have to be divided just because someone is religious or someone is non-religious, mga ganun, or some mga different identities that we have. Like that shouldn't be the reason why we can't be friends or we can't be ano. As long as we respect each other and know that, yeah, we respect each other and accept each other, that's fine. No. But if we the thing is for me, I guess the small victory right now is just let myself be me, just be me, parang ganun. Like, just be yourself lang talaga. And love who you want and love yourself. Kasi if we can't love ourselves, how the hell are other people gonna love you, diba? Charot. Sabi nga ni ano. So, yun, I think that's what I can leave right now with you guys. What I can leave to you guys today.
Hala, nagkahiyaan pa, dulong-dulo na. Franz and Heather. Bato, bato, pick Heather.
Speech paradox.
Sarili.
Okay, small victory, I guess, is being more clear on how you present or introduce yourself to other people. Because dati talaga, I really didn't know how to, like, introduce to people na parang, oh, I am not your conventional cisgender person. So please take note of that. My pronouns are this and that and all that. Now, I think a little victory would be my pronouns because it took me a while to um absorb and like to internalize that I really just feel comfortable with they or them. I mean, people do still get it mistaken, but it's fine. It's fine because yun nga, again, we grew up in this conventional way that he is used. But then nowadays, yun nga, it's umuusbong na rin na yun nga, people use these pronouns or people don't like using pronouns at all. That's another one. So yun, I think that's my small victory with regards to being part of this community. And it's nice. It makes my, I don't know, it makes my heart full as well when people do use it. And then when they're talking to other people, then they're gonna be like, "Oh, Heather, they're like this, they're like that." I'm like, yay! Parang yay! Small achievements, I guess. Na parang people are willing to respect what you actually have to say, and people are willing to adjust for you because they care and they do genuinely care. Yun eh. So I guess that's my small victory with regards to the community.
Hello. So I guess small victory. Maybe agreeing to this, agreeing to speak here. Kasi noong una, can I say, yeah, Marga approached me and then like, noong una akala ko, okay, sige. Tapos after a while, na-process ko siya, hala, isi-stream siya, hala, ipo-post siya, hala, makikita pala to ng
Same.
ibang tao.
Oh my God, sobrang same. Sobrang same. I changed my name last minute just for this session because I realized, oh my God, this is on Facebook. Oh my God, I'm not out on Facebook. Oh my God. Parang nag-spiral.
Diba? So parang, oh no. But then like, sige, bahala na. Kung ano na lang mangyari, hindi mangyayari. So, ayun. I guess, yeah, my small victory would be like talking to you guys and like the fact that we're all strangers to each other in a one way or another. We've never met physically, but then like I feel very safe. Like I'm very thankful and I have this with all of you guys. So that's my little victory for today. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Before we leave, I'll give you an opportunity to sign off. A la podcast way. Hey, I'm Heather, and da 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 da. But the catch is, in two sentences, there are still small Heathers, Frances, Enzos, and Hens out there that need a lot of guidance. They are still under the scrutiny of the world, and they might not think that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And hopefully, if they're listening right now, what two sentences can you tell them? So you can start off with, "Hi, it's been friends," and then, da. Hmm.
Hi guys, this has been Enzo, and if you ever feel like you're alone and you're a young queer kid growing up with people telling you that you're nothing more than a sinner or a mistake, ganon. I hope you know that you're not alone, and you know this rainbow, we're all individual specks, but together we're some of the most colorful things that you'll ever witness in your life. So just know that there's a whole community out there to help guide you and to help you discover yourself and to also love yourself. Thank you.
Grabe yung two sentences. Ang daming semicolon. Enzo naman,
Sorry
nandadaya ka.
na, mga complex compound sentences po siya. Ganun.
For the little hands, what chicken. I just like to say, don't be afraid to be yourself if you're feeling that um there is something that if you felt that you're an abomination, you're not. Okay. you are important, you are valid, you are the same person, the same to everyone in the eyes of God, if you believe in God, that you should never let anyone tell you that you're less than. And you should never let anyone tell you that you're an abomination. And always, 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 Japan, just always pray at night. Wow! Joke lang. Yan. So, ayun, yun lang po.
Hello. So it has been France, and to all the little Frances out there, sana matuto kayong mag-isip para sa sarili nyo and don't just blindly follow everything. Like, huwag kayo lagi maging masunurin. Kasi minsan yung mga tinuturo ng mundo sa inyo, hindi na sila nakakatulong sa ibang tao. And at the end of everything, um, always choose the loving option.
Hi guys, it's Heather. It's been Heather. And to all those people as well who are having a crisis between pink versus blue or whatever color there is deemed to be called conventional, or to those people who think that parang, oh, I'm not in this spectrum. I don't think that this I don't think that I identify with these pronouns or and such. What I have for you is there are people who will respect you no matter what happens. There will be people who will adjust. There will be people who are open minded and are willing to hear you and they're willing to hear your story. So don't be afraid to just tell maybe your friend or maybe someone you really trust that, hey, I'm this and this is what I identify as, or this is what I feel, and just say it, because at the end of the day, one way or another, you will eventually feel good about it because, hey, I did it, I said it, and it feels so good to say it. So don't be afraid.
And that wraps up our sharing and queer two-hand for today. If there's anything I've learned, I think we need to go back to high school to learn what two sentences are. Charot! Joke lang! Joke lang. To recap, today we made Quentuhan with Hen, Enzo, Franz, and Heather. That is the most Atenean sentence I've ever said in my life about what it's like to be LGBTQ plus in a Catholic high school. The call to love is inclusive and should not in any way be used to discriminate against others. And we hope that Catholic schools everywhere can become safe spaces, especially for members of the LGBTQIA plus community. Thank you so much again for joining this episode. Once again, hey, bye. I'm Vaughn, your cool hot queer phenomenon from 3AB Communications, and this has been Queer Two Hands. See you in the next episode.
To satisfy more of your queer cuento cravings, stay tuned to DevSock's Queertuhan for more episodes that you can access through Spotify and YouTube. Like and follow our Queertuhan Facebook and Instagram page for updates on future Queertuhan episodes. Once again, this is Queertuhan, presented by the Development Society of the Ateneo, where we strive to amplify the voices of underrepresented minorities so that we can move beyond stereotypes and confront the lived reality of the LGBTQIA plus community in the Philippines. See you at our next Queertuhan.